setting, whether it is corporate, whether it is civic, whether it is church, whatever it is, worship him. All right. It's all making sense. So this is critical. Any other questions? I really want to hear what it is you've been grappling with. What are your questions maybe about the 7 mountains? I know this is new fodder. It's new terrain. It's new for most of the church world. But we're not just doing church. What we're understanding is God has called, and the word has always been, he's called a government. He's called legislators. He's called those who will represent the kingdom of God. And so that's a new shift, but that shift is a part of the 7 mountains template. That God has said, now that you understand that I want to rule the whole doggone thing. Now that you understand that all this is really mine, not just because you can recite Psalm, but because you understand reality and you understand the whole trajectory of what God was envisioning from the beginning. Now I need you to show up. And I need you to really show out because this is critical to do, critical to understand. Here's another question. All right. How do you know what step to take first? Well, what I do in the blueprint that I've gotten is that first steps to really penetrating anything, to really having a say in anything, is to know your own voice, to know your own authority, to understand and be acquainted with your own journey. Why are you the one to do this particular thing? What is your credibility? What gives you authority? How do you vocalize it? What direction are you going in based on where you have come from? So the first thing is to do some I know people call it vision. What do you call it? You do, oh Lord, you put your little visions and your little stuff of where you want to go. And they do all of that. But for me, and what I understand is we need to do some visionary mapping. We need to have a map of where you come from. I need to be able to, a vision board, right? Well, the vision board is good for what you desire, but to understand how your desire connects to the plan of God, you're going to have to work with someone that can help you see your timeline. That's next steps. You can only do the first next step when you understand all the steps that took you to this moment, because all those steps were critical. All those steps meant something. And so we don't want to throw out that. We do not want to throw out all the pain, all the hell, all the difficulty, all the hardship, all the loss. All of that is a part of the voice that you will bring to a population or a target of people. So in order to understand that, we got to go back. We have to go backwards before we can go forward. It has a lot to do when you renovate a room and you have the color spectrums, you have you have your main pieces, you have your signature wall, and you know what you're going to do. You have all of that, but before you can make it beautiful, you got to tear some things up. You got to go back and see, now this little ugly thing here got to go, and this thing here is just taking the room just way off the path. And so it's the same in our life. We got to go back and see what we're going to do based on where we have been. So I call it vision mapping, and then the whole vision treasure map. We go looking for the treasure that's in your soul, that's in your spirit, that's in your walk, and we bring all of that to the next step. Yeah, you have to go backwards before you go forward. I like the way you think. I like the way you put that together. And so that is very critical. You say, that's powerful. Yeah. And so, when I do coaching, I don't do coaching based on everybody's programs in the marketplace. There's some stuff out there like, y'all didn't consider what God has to say. So I spend a lot of time with the Father, like, how do we get your people prepared? How do we move the treasure that you have hidden inside of them? What is the process of propelling them and moving them? And he said it's in their voice. Voice is connected to identity. Identity is most of the time thwarted by our experiences, even from birth, even before birth in utero. Because we live in a fallen world, we're often born in sin, shaped in iniquity, and it takes us a long time to get through that whole maze. But in that maze, God has hidden in our belly the thing that will make the difference. He has hidden down in the reservoir of our own being the answers to all of our problems and the answers of many, many others. Masses, multitudes, millions are hoping and waiting for what you carry. So now we've got to go back and find out what you got. What's in there? What are you really garnering? What are you really doing? Okay, she said, I've been running running away from the very thing God has been trying to show me. Wow. And it's true. We all do it. If we had a hand raised, everybody's hand would be raised about this. So the next question is, how then do you fight the spirit of intimidation in others because you are a woman with a strategy? Well, you don't have to really focus per se on their issue, because this is not their issue. This is what you have been called to do. And you're always, beloved, going to have those that are resistant and intimidated by your greatness, by your strategic mind, by your strategic plan, by your strategic presence. Because you show up, something is going to be moving and shaking in the atmosphere. I already know that about you. I felt it in your question. So because you carry such an enormity, there is going to be the fight. But we don't want to dwell on the fight per se. We want to begin to develop the product, the service, the vision, the idea, because that's what's going to break it. Then we want to add to that product, service, vision, and idea, your voice. What is your story? See, people don't know what got you to strategy. They don't know what got you to the place where you can say, I'm not playing down, I'm not taking down, I'm not dimming my light. They have to know your story. So what I would suggest is we learn to interlace your story with your strategy. So when you tell your story, that's going to disarm your enemies. It's going to disarm the naysayers. It's going to disarm the haters, because once your story gets out there, your story will relate to more people and connect to more people than the haters do, because the haters don't have nothing to say. They just like to look at you funny and just and say things behind your back. So we're not even dealing with them. We're trying to develop product, develop life, develop target, develop population. So we're going to press past those, and we're going to do that again through a strategy of story connected with a strategy of greatness. And once we do that, they won't have nothing to say. You'll shut them down, literally, because your words have the power to create. Your words have the power to paint, and people need to be painted. Life is dull and dreary and gray until we paint the picture with a powerful story. It's what makes Hollywood and blockbuster movies go haywire into millions and billions of sales, is because people really want to dream. They really want to be better. They really want to know answers. They really want to know solutions to the ache of their heart, to the cry of their heart. All right. So this is critical. We create and paint the canvas with your story. Absolutely. So I would say part of our strategy here at Yolanda Powell Transcontinental is to always take you brilliant men and women who you are and what you carry, particularly as leaders, to make sure that you're adding to your program, to your church movement, to what you're doing with the ecclesia, to what you're doing in business, to add to that the power story. God said that the power was in the voice as well as the vision. So we just couple the two. We bring your vision in alignment with your voice and your voice in alignment with your vision. And you will not believe, when you have volume, you have vision, you have voice, you have all those things together, you are a dynamo. And so we're so thankful for that. Well, gosh, this time is going fast. Is this helping you all? Y'all are not giving me no love, no hearts. Boom, 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 boom. I guess you're thinking. I guess you're kind of meditating. So we won't do a heart count on this one. But I really wanted to be able to slow down the movement of coaching as we think about a theme or a subject, and to be able to listen to some of your questions. So I hope this has been helpful to you today to do it. We probably will do this maybe once a month or so. I'm not sure about the timing, but this will be our first month here on PowerScope. So we wanted to at least acknowledge your questions and the things that you've been kind of sitting in the back of your head saying, now she is really rocking my world, but I have some questions. So we wanted to be able to do that. All right. So if it's helpful, good. Now, before we go, and I got less than a minute here. I said 30 minutes, and I really want to keep to that. But tell me a little bit about what you do. Or some of you hairstylists, or some of you teachers, or some of you secretaries, or some of you pastors and ministers. Like, tell me a little bit, just quickly, about what you do and where you are in your life right now, so I can kind of get a feel. I've been wanting to know. Okay, you work in higher education. Ooh, how exciting! So you get to mold minds and cause thoughts to just come into fruition. solutions. So God bless you for what you're doing in higher education, in those high elements of thinking and thought and transformation. Who else? What's going on? What are you doing, and where are you positioned at this point in your penetration and in your activation? What's going on? All right. Social worker. Very good. All right. Social work supervisor and evangelist. All right. So you've got those two combinations going forward together in marketplace and ministry. Very good. All right. Good, good, good. That is excellent. Excellent. Because when we talk about social work, there's a whole there's a whole development of ideas and new solutions for that. So I love the fact that you're evangelistic and that you're doing social work. Those are two constructs that really need to work better together. All right, speaker, artist, minister, wife, you are a pomegranate. I call people like you pomegranate. So you are packing with so much gift, so much anointing, so much insight, so much relevance and good. And you got the insight to all of that. So I'm just winking at you. I understand, and you love it too, which makes it even better. Well, all right. Well, I am so glad I will pray for you. Actually, I want to pray for all of you. I want to just lift you up. But before we go, we'll take this one thought here. Transitioning, she says, in corporate America, and discovered I'm prophetic with a military background. Ooh, that's cool. That's really good. So you've got like a threefold cord there and strand that can work together. You got the corporate piece, you got the prophetic piece, you got the military piece. You are blessed. Let me pray and get you all back to your jobs, your work, your families, your ministries. Thank you so much for this time. This has been a little different for us, but I love it. I love the fact that we can engage you in this way, that we can meet your needs. So Father, I just bless your prophetic workers and ministers. I bless the apostolic leaders on this line. I thank you for the evangelists. We lift them up that they would have greater voice in the marketplace. We thank you for the teachers that ground us. We bless you, Lord God, for those that support us, our pastors that shepherd us, that keep us safe from the wolves. I bless you that all of those are coming now into an understanding that they are needed in marketplace as well. This is not a Sunday morning only show, that we are to be 24/7, 365 in the marketplace, in ministry, at the top of the mountain, moving systems, bringing solutions, changing, Lord God, the ideas and the mentality of culture, moving folks to transformation and then social systems to reformation. We are to impact 7 continents. We are to move Asia, Australia, Europe, Africa, America, South America. We are to move, Lord God, the way the world sees Christos, the way they see Christ, Jesus, the Lord, for he alone is the answer. And he said, if I be lifted up, I will draw all men unto me. So we've got to do a more strategic job, Papa, to lift up the one who can help, to lift him up inside of us in our thoughts and our ideas, in the things that he alone can provide. I bless you for PowerScope. We give you glory. We give you honor and praise in the wonderful and matchless name of Jesus. Blessings to you all. Thank you so much for this Q&A time. I'm Dr. Yolanda Powell, and you've been with me 35 minutes now, or 40 almost. So we've gone a little bit over, but thank you so very much for being with us today. And we will look forward to seeing you and being with you at week's end. Now, one more thing before I go is usually I'm on Friday at 7 and Friday at noon. But this time I'll be traveling to Phoenix, Arizona to be a part of the Arise Summit in Glendale. So I will not be on Friday. But what I thought was, and this is my great thought, is that I'll be doing a round table about 7 mountains and ministry and all of that on Saturday morning in Glendale. And then I'll be preaching about 7 that night. So I'm thinking that I'll kind of pull you in. If you're interested, you'll be able to be a part of a little bit of the round table to hear some of the things that we're saying to leaders all over the country. And then we'll let you get a cue in a different environment when I'm preaching the awesome word of God. All right. So that's what we will do from Phoenix. We'll be doing that on Saturday morning and Saturday evening, as opposed to being here on Friday with you. All right. So I look forward to your engagement, forward to your hearts, forward to your prayers. Pray for me. Pray that we would have penetrating power and much success in Arizona. I bless you. Have a great and a marvelous day. And I will hear you, see you, and be speaking with you on Saturday morning. Blessings to you and goodbye. Have a great day and a wonderful rest of the week.